So SmackDown happened. It's time for your SmackDown review. Yeah, hi already, folks. Um, so SmackDown actually started with something different, which I'm very happy of, and I'm very happy that SmackDown actually started with something like that had a little bit of a not like a cliffhanger opening. What I'm trying to say, it's just something that basically a way to like it was a hot opener where like you actually had something to look forward to. Like there was carrying something throughout the show. The only problem is the execution kind of failed because they ended it like so quickly. There was a lot of good ideas on this show. It's just the problem is the execution was not well done. Like for example, you had this scenario where there was a car accident involving Jacob Fatu Souls Cole, and he had this scenario with John Cena claiming that he won't be able to compete at SummerSlam. It's like why? First of all, why didn't they have this revolve around the show? And why didn't they have like maybe like Cena whole idea like Cena like why didn't we also open with Cena like he had to why didn't he like tell Adam Pearce like, hey man, I can't compete in the show on SummerSlam? Like why didn't we build this up the entire show? Like, I don't understand why couldn't we have stuff like that happen throughout the show? Like, oh, is John Cena naturally gonna be at SummerSlam? Like, that would be like that's the thing, man. Like, why aren't we doing stuff like this to carry throughout the show to make you like there's like a good cliff, like a good hang motion throughout the show. It's like, oh wow, like you're not only like the whole car accident scenario, but John Cena, like, oh man, like, will John Cena actually not compete in the show? Will he probably surrender the title? Like that could have been another idea what they could have done, like on this show, like this whole contract signing. Is Cena gonna sign a contract, or is he gonna actually not compete at SummerSlam? Is he gonna relinquish the title? This whole idea, you know what I mean? Like stuff like this is what should have been happening on the fucking show, but they failed to sadly do like progress from it. But yeah, I give at least WWE a little credit where they did something. At least someone had some ideas to do something where like how it was back in the days of wrestling. It just unfortunately the execution wasn't that great. I'm not saying the show was terrible. The show wasn't terrible. It just like it still had its boring moments. I can say maybe the show was better than last week, maybe, but just the end of the day, it's whatever. So yeah, the show started with a who done it angle where like um, who crashed into Sol Sikoa's car. But again, like you would think that like, oh, they're gonna check security. But unfortunately, they did not. Unless they could have used that throughout the show, like came down to like, learning what happened with security. Like, why don't we have something like that? Like where it comes to realize, they take Solo into questioning in the precinct, and then they could have done security thing, and then eventually throughout the show, it's found out that Solo crashed his own car to have a false claim, and then eventually Jacob Fatu comes back. Maybe not towards the end of the show, but basically like in the middle of the show, maybe mid match and mid segment before the main event segment, and that's how we end things off. Like that would have been. I imagine this. Like again, you start the show hot with the freaking car accident. Then you come to like Adam Pearce for which, by the way, why is Adam Pearce? It's like, did they forget who they're booking as general managers? Why is Adam Pearce the fucking general manager on freaking Raw? So what's the fucking point of general managers now? Like all suddenly, like why is Adam Pearce on SmackDown? Why is Nick Aldis on Raw? I believe he was on Raw. Like what are we doing? Like what is this? What is going on? Like are they confused of who the fuck are the general managers are now? Is that the problem? I don't fucking know. Like you could have had again, like just what I'm trying to say is like you could have all this thing going on. Like you started with the whole car accident, but then you could have all the scenario that Cody finds out. Obviously the problem with this is though also is like why is Cody Rhodes like, oh, he didn't say like what happened. Like why the fuck is Cody Rhodes so worried about like, oh, oh, yo, did you have the contract? Like what the fuck is that supposed to mean? He only cares about the contract now. Like, oh, what happened here? And again, it would have been great to like kind of make like have an idea like Adam Pearce could have mentioned the same time that actually I don't even think the match is gonna probably happen later on because he found out that Cena might not compete. Like we should have these two big scenarios carry the show. Well, unfortunately, it didn't. But whatever. I mean, they at least started, but then they just moved on quickly without actually like letting it like marinate. They unfortunately let it like oh, just this segment happens. Now we gotta move on to the next segment because they totally stopped mentioning this, and literally proceeded with the next fucking thing because we gotta start with a fucking match. So for God knows what reason, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss is gonna face the Judgment Women, whatever, at SummerSlam just because they asked, and then we're gonna get this we're not friends angle, which is like, who the fuck cares? Why is this happening? I don't know why, nor do I care. The first match, Ric Flair Jr. defeated Raquel Rodriguez, I believe. I don't even remember, nor do I care. But yeah, that's like literally like what happened. Like that's what they started the show with. I don't even know. And I it's like, really, this is happening, and who really cares? We then see Jacob Fatu is being searched by security. Police tells Adam Pearce that Jacob Fatu is the main suspect of the car crash on the family tree's car, and then they're taking away to questioning. Which, okay, why didn't we talk about this throughout the show too? Why aren't they like, did Jacob actually crash his car? Blah blah blah. But it's like also makes you think like, why did Solo Sikoa want to ruin his car just for this Jacob Fatu thing? Like, maybe they could mention, like, because he's scared, some type of deal. Like, why isn't that being, like, noticed? You know what I mean, folks? Stuff like this, you know? But whatever. It is what it is. I don't know. We then get this whole video package with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. And I get it. I'm not. People think I'm just a dumb blonde. And people think, misunderstood me. Like, there's no story with this. That's the problem. This is why, like, I do think one of the big problems with Naomi cashing in with the Raw Women's title is, like, it would have made more sense if, sure, like, why, like, if Naomi was good cashing on one of these women, but, like, it would have made more sense if Jade Cargill, like, what they should have done, again, like I said in my Evolution review, Jade Cargill loses to Naomi in the No Holds Barred match. There should have been some screwy finish. And then eventually, Jade Cargill instead, like, she'll challenge Naomi. That's what they should have done. They should literally have done the whole bullshit where, like that Jade Cargill, she has her world title opportunity. I hate to have calling the women's title world title. It's not the world title, for crying out loud. But regardless, she should have had her all get it because she has an opportunity to challenge for the women's title. She should have freaking challenged Naomi, and then you could have always done something with Rhea Ripley and whatever, Io Sky. They want to do something else. Maybe you could have switched that even to the freaking SmackDown women's title. I don't know, something. You could have done something. Maybe them feuding without the title, and then Tiffany Stratton has a different challenger, something new. You know what I mean, folks? It just kind of makes no sense because there's really no story with Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton, so it makes no sense for this to just happen. Just saying, it is what it is. Damian Priest defeats Carmelo Hayes earlier in the show. Carmelo's like, yo, man, I know he shouldn't have been involved in that match, man. He shouldn't have been involved with Matt Elkai. And then Damian Priest overheard this and then challenged Carmelo to a match. A lot of people were like, oh, why is Carmelo not in a match? But Jelly Roll is like, maybe because he's a fucking black vanilla Mitchell who's garbage. I don't fucking know. I'm not trying to be racist here, but it's like every fucking black wrestler's like, yo, man, I'm cool and shit. I'm black, man, shit. Man, every wrestler's like, nobody's like different. I'm gonna probably make a video. It's probably gonna be very controversial. Just keep in mind, folks, I'm not racist. I'm really not. I love my black folks, man. I love. It's just I love everybody, bro. But come on here. It's just like every fucking black wrestler is the same person, and what makes Carmelo Hayes different? Like he's just like just a same fucking wrestler, and he just I'm gonna try to be cool, man. Like I don't see the appeal with Carmelo Hayes. I really don't. I don't get why people like Carmelo Hayes. When I see him, he's just another fucking guy who happens to be small, also. So like, what makes him different than freaking all these other midgets? You know what I mean? He's just a black midget. There you go. That's all I have to say. Malachi Black attacks Damian Priest, costing him the match, so he wins by disqualification, and we don't see R-Truth. Like, how about this? Where's R-Truth? Like, R-Truth is actually a black wrestler that I can get behind, Like, where's R-Truth for God's sakes? Where was R-Truth during this? And so much for R-Truth's momentum being ruined, by the way, folks. So much for R-Truth's momentum, like, that sucks. Like, I might do a video about that, where, like, R-Truth's momentum's been ruined by WWE. So, yeah. That's a darn shame that R-Truth was not even involved in this. Then we get the Wyatt's like, oh, we're scary. Can you tell us scary? Can we tell we're scary? You know, we're gonna scare the Wyatt. We're gonna scare the SmackDown division. We have family. No one is family. Just follow. All you have to do is believe and follow the buzzards. Like, shut the fuck up. You know, you ain't fucking scary at all. You know what's scary? This guy's gonna probably rape Solo Sikoa in fucking prison. Not like, you know, he got like, oh yeah, the beastie eyes, man. You know, yo, man, yeah, like I'm getting behind you. I'm fucking putting that handcuffs on you, and man, I'm gonna freaking rape that booty hole. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like that's what freaking what I'm seeing here. So they did this segment where Solo Sikoa came out. It says like what Jacob Fatu did earlier was selfish, and as Jacob truly is. How he, you know, oh, I mean, I brought him to the world. I brought him, you know, to this family. I brought him to the show, and this is how he pays me. I'm not surprised he's getting arrested. And then they mentioned how like then Jacob Fatu shows up back with the police officers, and he's like how he's cleared, and him and Jimmy proceed to attack the family tree. Then after that, Adam Pearce mentions like how it was not Jacob Fatu who attacked it was Solo himself, and how since Solo likes apparently, you know, Jacob getting locked up, how about he get locked up with him inside a steel cage at SummerSlam? You see, my problem with this, I would have liked it if they probably announced a match next week. They could have done the whole, you know, Solo Sikoa getting arrested scenario, which... First of all, why is Solo getting arrested? You know, if memory serves me right, as much as like, you know, I do think like maybe some more of this should happen when you like make a false accusation. Maybe you should get arrested at times, even though that's not the reality in this world. Why is Solo getting arrested? Like, why not maybe Solo, like, I don't know, attack the police officers like unintentionally? You know, while he's trying to attack Jacob Fatu, and that would make more sense for him getting arrested. You know. And then that's what could lead to, like, how, you know, eventually Solo gets released from jail. And then eventually, you know, like, you know, you could have had the whole scenario where next week you announce this steel cage match. I just don't like that how it's, like, the typical wrestling scenario. Like, you know, this happened. You know, screw it. We're gonna make this a steel cage. Like, just freaking make it a cage. Like, let it marinate. Let the fucking story grow. Like, you know, let's get an image of Solo getting locked up. You know, like, stuff like that. You know, I just think they just did it so fast. You know, it didn't let things marinate. And I also didn't like the show didn't really mention much about the whole being arrested thing. Even though, again, I do like that WWE started with a hot angle. It just, the execution wasn't that great. But I give credit where due. So, it's fine. I just wish that, you know, it was more things to marinate over. You know what I mean, folks? Speaking of things that can marinate well, Stephanie McCure defeats Alba Fire in a quick match. She gets attacked by Piper Niven, which I don't understand how Stephanie McCure like was able to survive it, but hey, at least she survived a doughy bitch, because at least her beautiful self is still alive, you know? So I'm happy about that. Then we get a non-tag team winning a Fatal 4-Way number one contenders tag team match, because that's typical fucking WWE. They have a non-tag team win a fucking tag team match. Oh yeah, and then the Street Profits, they got confronted by DIY because I'll get it. You know, we couldn't stand tall against the Wyatt. Like, who the fuck cares? Y'all all suck. A bunch of jobbers in this 8-man tag match, and Andrade and Rey Fenix defeats DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and I don't know, and Fraxium or something. I don't fucking know. This was just a waste of time. This is announced for next week, and I don't fucking care. I do want to talk about the whole Jelly Roll thing. I do like that WWE's having a little bit of mainstream appeal where they're on the late night show. Like, I saw they were like on Jimmy Fallon's show, which is hosted by Jelly Roll for some reason. But my problem is why is Jelly Roll like choke slamming Logan Paul when legitimately like Logan Paul can punch him in the face? Like, you know damn well in real life, Jelly Roll would probably get punched face by Logan Paul, but it's just sending a bad message to the world of wrestling. It's like anybody could be a wrestler. You know, that's the problem. Like, that's what I also want to mention. Like, the problem with now modern wrestling is having all these celebrities when they're really not like celebrities. I feel like this, for some reason, Jelly Roll, like, I don't know how he's a celebrity. Like, I feel like that's like a whole, like, what they call like a publicity plant or whatever. He's like a industry plant. He's like an industry plant for no reason. I don't know if that's like the proper way to say he is, because I haven't even heard of Jelly Roll compared to like Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny to me is like a industry plant for some reason. It's just like, again, it's leaving a bad message. It's like, why are these wrestlers freaking, all these, like, you're making your wrestlers look weak when you're having people who are celebrities coming into the show. Like, Logan Paul is a different scenario. Like, Logan Paul is, like, he can actually be a WWE superstar. Jelly Roll? Like, come on here. I don't get it. And the main event, we had Cody Rhodes. He's like, oh, what do you guys want to talk about? And then he's like, oh, I'm going to finally get my chance against John Cena, and I won't hesitate, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what he really said. All I remember is John Cena came out, right? He's introduced to the ring, but then John Cena says, yo, I got bad news, everybody. I got bad news. I got to tell you all, because of my schedule, I know this is a farewell tour, but I cannot compete at SummerSlam. Cody, you're going to get your rematch, but I got to tell you, man, my schedule is exhausting. I'm going to be filming, a movie. It's like, why didn't we freaking, first of all, like, I obviously, so much for a retirement tour, right? That John Cena's not on the fucking show every week. Then make it part of his story. Like, make it actually, like, make sense. Why didn't we have this mentioned the entire show, too? Like, why didn't we, like, during the whole car segment thing, or prior to, like he tells Cody, like, hey, I gotta tell you, Cody. Like, why didn't Adam Pearce tell Cody, like, hey, man, I gotta tell you, I gotta warn you, man. I don't even think this, on top of the older problems, man, I don't even think that this match might not even happen because Cena's not, he's has a busy schedule. We can't have him probably at SummerSlam. Why didn't we build from this? And then eventually, towards the other segment, when Cena makes it seem like he actually can compete, Cody's, like, angry, but then John Cena attacks him. Why don't we have stuff like that? Why don't we actually give some Cena some heat? Because it's like every fucking time they have Cody and John Cena interact, Cody gets the upper hand all the fucking time. It's so fucking annoying. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And also, it doesn't make any sense in the end of the segment. Like, why is John Cena scared of Cody Rhodes? Why is he all of a sudden, like, so cowardly against Cody Rhodes? Like, Cena, even though he's a heel, like, I'm tired of what they do all the time with heels at sometimes. It's like they always make them cowardly for no reason. Why is John Cena afraid of Cody Rhodes? We didn't really see John Cena was afraid of Cody Rhodes, like, before. Why all of a sudden fucking afraid, and he's, like, so cowardly, like, he has to make it seem like he's not going to challenge Cody Rhodes. And if you're, like, why didn't we do this whole, like, maybe, like, a ploy that, like, oh, it's John Cena. He's not going to challenge, he's not going to fight, but then he eventually does challenge Cody, like, he does sign the contract after beating the shit out of him, And then eventually, next week, like, Cody Rhodes, like, oh, I don't want a regular match. I want a street fight. Because let things marinate. Because, like, what they just did is the typical stupid wrestling where, like, I'll get it. Cena, he walks away and gets attacked by Cody Rhodes. But then Cena fights back. But then eventually, Cody, like, get it. He gets an upper hand. Puts John Cena through the table. Signs a contract. Well, he forces John Cena to sign a contract. Which I don't mind if you want to make things make sense. Sure, like, let's say if Cody Rhodes were trying to outsmart John Cena, then sure, he forces John Cena to sign the contract, and then, it's fine. Let things marinate. I just hate the whole scenario, like, oh, after it's like, here, look, the fine prey, and it's gonna be a street fight. Like, why not just announce it next week, by Adam Pearce, like, what, Cena's angry, or whatever. Cody, I don't want to, like, Cody just, I don't want just an ordinary match. I don't want I want there are no rules. I want to fight in a street fight. Simple shit like that. Like, something to be announced next week, to things that happen. Not just like, oh, there's going to be a street fight, fine print. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on this segment so much. I just think this had so much potential. And plus, I just think it would have made more sense, like, if Cena was to get the upper hand, like, oh, he just attacks Cody, Cody just being, like, maybe Cody couldn't, like, believe, like, he's not actually, like, faking the match, but then eventually Cody gets attacked by Cena. Cody tries to fight back, and then Cena gets the upper hand, puts him to the table. Simple shit like that. Cena signs a contract, and then Cena, like, oh, man, I'm gonna end you at SummerSlam. Simple stuff like that, and then eventually could have announced next week for a street fight. What they did on this show was not probably terrible. It's not the end of the world type of thing, but it should have been done much better, I would have said. I guess that it was not a terrible segment in the end of the day. It's just, I wish, like, why not hook us? Why not give us a hook throughout the show where not only, the whole car segment, but also where Cena, like, wow, he might actually not compete. Just that little things like that could have made the show a lot better and could have given us a more story-driven show. You know, like Cena fake, like, you know, oh, he might not be able to compete, but then eventually he's forced to, compete because he gets, signed by Cody. That would in itself even made a much more a better show. You know, like what they could have done was fine if they just had like Cena, basically, yeah, I can't actually compete this show, and then now he's gonna be forced to, which would have been probably a bit better if they've done stuff like that, where like Cena can't compete. And then they could have done the same segment. That would make that just again those little things could have improved on that segment. Like, okay, that's actually not a bad way to end the show. I don't know. Overall, the show wasn't terrible. I liked there was a little bit of effort. They had some hooks on the show. Just the execution was not always great. Like it's like more like a D or C minus even. C minus. You know. The matches were just the typical bad matches that who cares about. I like that Stephanie McCure's match was quick, because who the fuck cares, like, why the match had to be long. Doesn't need to be a long match. Not every match can be fucking long. So I like that there's stuff like that. It just also all these other matches, like, who the fuck cares, like, fuck. Anyways, that was SmackDown for you. It's not a terrible show, but not really great either. It was just whatever, kind of sucky show at the end of the day, but it's just at least there was some effort. I'll give credit where due, still a little boring. So yeah, I thought the show was still better than last week. I'm just keeping real. Get your games closed magnificently. Inspire me to just go, oh shit, that's what I gotta say. Until next time, peace. Yeah, bye.